What's up, everybody? Coach JK, head coach of the Fargo Flygons here, coming at you for the Pokemon Draft League, week number 2, against our good friend Silverhammer, aka DJ. Crazy week this week, so there was no team builder. So we're just gonna dive right into the game. Hope you guys are ready for a crazy one. Right off the bat, let's run through the team real quick. Like I said, no team builder this week. I had a lot of stuff going on, and then was gone for part of the weekend, so I didn't really have a ton of time to get all of the things done before the game like I would like to. So we can just check out the team real quick here. It is Slowbro, our dude Lebowski, the dude, team captain, off the bench and into the game for week number 2. Bindi the Crocodile, back and ready for a redemption story, hopefully, after a lackluster week 1. Hotbox the Rotom Heat, back for more. Mr. Sticky the Goodra, coming with a different set this week, but ready to come in and have a big role in the game. Jetstream, as always, our staple, our leadoff, our switch man, ready to go. And then Perm, the Whimsicott, first appearance in the draft league, ready to come in and do some tricky things and be a little bit of a thorn in DJ's side, hopefully. Real quickly, his team, he drafted Sun. So he's got the Drought Torkoal, Volcarona, he's got a Venusaur that's got Chlorophyll, Noivern, Darmanitan, and then Nihilego. In prep, I thought I was really solid. We did some scrimmaging against a couple of practice teams, and he brought everything that I thought he would bring except for that Nihilego. I did not prep for that specific threat, so that was a little bit of an oversight for me, and we'll kind of find out why in the video, but no spoilers. Let's just get into the game here. Right off the bat, we are looking to kind of figure out what our lead is going to be. I'm thinking let's just start out with Jetstream. We know we can U-turn out no matter what. He goes into Torkoal right away to set up the Sun. In thinking about this more, since we played the game, I could have predicted this and went out into Crocodile right away, and then tried to abuse the fact that I knew Torkoal was going to be his lead. But we wanted to do the safe thing, so we sent out Jetstream. We're ready to defog away hazards if he sets them up, and I also think to myself, Hurricane, after doing some calcs, is gonna do a lot here actually. I'm looking and it's like 40 to 50% damage in kind of that ballpark. I'm thinking, okay, well, Hurricane's not the most accurate move, especially in the Sun, but screw it. It's turn 1. I'm not really scared of this thing. We fire off a Hurricane and it does 46%, so a pretty good turn. He trades out Stealth Rocks. We find out he's got leftovers, so I'm like, man, well, if he's just gonna set up Stealth Rocks, I'm just gonna fire off another Hurricane, and we hit it. He gets us Toxic, which is a little annoying, but also something that we can play around with switching out. We've got the heavy duty boots, so we don't take Stealth Rock damage coming in, and I feel like I don't need to defog just quite yet. I want to see what this thing's moveset is. Maybe we kill it if we hit another Hurricane. He protects, so he's super bulky, has Protect, Stall, and Toxic, which is a problem for me. So he switches out. I missed the Hurricane on the Nihilego on the switch in. So he wanted to preserve his Sunsetter, which is totally understandable. That's his setup for Venusaur. It helps Volcarona. It helps Darmanitan. Torkoal super important to him. So I think he saw that he couldn't really touch me. So switching out to Nihilego is scary because, number 1, I didn't prep for it. Number 2, I don't really know what this thing does. So I missed that Hurricane, which is unfortunate because then we could have maybe seen, what its investment is or kind of what the set might be. So, missing that definitely hurts, but we're still not freaking out. So I'm really debating about what I want to try and do here. I think about defogging, I think about U-turning out, and we actually do U-turn out because I want to switch into something that I know can take a hit and then maybe see what this thing is going to try and do. Mr. Sticky is our special wall. He is wearing assault vest and is fully special attack invested. So Gudra is here to drop Dracos and kill things. So depending on the Nihilego investment, I'm really curious about how much this Draco is actually going to do. He sets up toxic spikes, which is fine. We can switch in Tornadus, who's already toxic, also has the heavy duty boots. And we can just defog that stuff away. So not a big deal, but I know I want to not switch anything else in because toxic really doesn't number on my team. And it's not something that I can deal with really well. So I'm thinking for a long time, running calcs, trying to figure out what I want to do, and I just go for the safe Dragon Pulse. I don't want to drop a Draco Meteor and not get a kill, and then I get the special attack drop, and then all of a sudden he has a free switch or he can set up or whatever. But he switches to Venusaur, and the Dragon Pulse actually does quite a bit, which is great. Because we're like, okay, I know that the team building that I did and the prep work that I did, I definitely want to be able to kill this Venusaur with Gudra. It's got Sap Sipper, which actually comes in handy here when he goes for Leech Seed, thinking that I was going to switch out. He's got Black Sludge, so he's get a little bit of that leftovers recovery for the poison type Pokemon. I'm trying to figure out, is it better if I go for Ice Beam? Could I maybe kill if I go for Draco Meteor? It was not going to be a for sure kill here. Definitely dependent on his investment, and he actually has some special bulk. So the Draco does good damage, but then I get the special attack drop. To where another one is probably not. I mean, it's just like borderline. It should kill, but it is kind of a roll here. So I'm thinking, okay, what do I want to do? I really don't want my Gudra to get toxic or to get any other status because it is kind of set up to be my sweeper at the end. So I'm thinking about switching. I'm thinking about, just firing off another Draco Meteor. And I really am like a little indecisive here, but I decided to go for it. And the second attack that we try and drop on this Nihilego, that misses on the switch in. So we missed a Hurricane when it switched in the first time, and we missed a Draco, albeit something that was at 50% power, on the second attack. So that's a really big bummer. I'm more upset about the Draco not hitting, even though I know it wasn't going to do a ton. But then it's just like, okay, we're missing attacks that in a perfect world would give us a lot of initiative moving forward. So I know this thing is going to try and set up more toxic spikes. So I'm like, okay, let's just switch out right away into our jet stream, and he'll be able to defog the hazards away, which is great because he goes for toxic spikes on the switch out. So I'm going to be able to defog things away, hopefully, and then be able to kind of figure out how to deal with this thing. Because I don't know its moveset. I don't know what it's going to try and do. All I know is it's got Toxic Spikes, which is a pretty normal set. And it's got Beast Boost, which is terrifying. So I'm just going to go for the defog. I think, okay, getting hazards away is more important than Jetstream living. I have a second defogger in Whimsicott if I absolutely need it. So I'm thinking, okay, let's get rid of the Stealth Rocks and the Toxic Spikes and kind of go from there. And I actually decide that I'm going to switch. I think about it for a long time. I want to switch, but I'm scared about what this thing can do if it has like a Stab Rock type move. So I switch out into Whimsicott thinking that I can sack it. And at the very least get off a Meteor. I get off a defog. He goes for the White Herb boosted Meteor Beam, which in hindsight, this play was super clutch. Because Tornadus would have probably died from that. I don't have special defense investment. And I needed to live the hit. So it was like, okay, let's make sure that whatever switches in can take the hit and be able to live. Whimsicott is fully specially defensive with a positive special defense nature. It has the grass fairy typing, which would have eaten a rock type move no problem. And he goes for the meteor beam that just raises his special attack and drops in it. Terrifying. And now I'm like, okay, well, Whimsicott's gonna die either on a switch in or because of toxic spikes again, because I'm toxic already. So the prankster defog is great here. I go for it, which is good, and he actually just like is super scary at this point. He's already got one buff. I'm kind of thinking to myself, okay, well, if he gets a beast boost off of killing me, that sucks. But maybe he'll expect me to defog and go for toxic spikes again or something like that, which would have been a bummer in hindsight. But I'm just like, okay, let's get the defog off. If I die, we'll figure that out from there. He goes for another meteor beam, which increases his special attack again, but it hasn't fired off yet because it's a 2-turn move. So I'm thinking, okay, crap. What can live a +2 meteor beam here? So I'm like really debating about what I want to do. And actually, Crocodile is probably the only thing that kills this straight off the bat and would be potentially fast enough to do it and make sure that it dies. So I'm like looking at my team. I'm looking at what's going to do the most damage. And this is a really like scary spot for me. If he kills something and gets another boost, because a beast boost, I just get swept. So I'm at this point, the score is 6-5, but I'm like this close to just like losing 6-0 to a Nihilego that I didn't prep for, which again was an oversight by me. So I'm really looking at what's happening in the game here overall. I'm wasting a lot of time on deciding what to come in, and I finally do just say, let's do it with Bindi. Earthquake does like 140% guaranteed, so it's like the best move bar none. I do a quick calc just to make sure, and I live on the skin of my teeth. So where we trade with the Life Orb boosted Earthquake. Don't get the Moxie Boost Sweeper. Don't have an answer for Volcarona later. But I figured, I had to switch in now and do it now, or I was going to lose 6-0. So now I'm like, well, shoot. 2 of my end game threats are gone. Whimsicott was there to be a Tailwind setter so that I could outspeed the Volcarona with Crocodile and be able to kill it with a Stone Edge. So I really have to hit the reset button on my game plan. We go down to Jetstream just because I want the fast U-turn. He's going to go for Protect. I go for Hurricane because I think we can kill this thing. I look back and the damage that Hurricane was doing in the beginning was like 46%. So I know that like I'm still in range to where if we land one of these things, it's going to die. We miss again. He gets up Stealth Rocks, and I'm taking toxic damage every turn, and I'm like, oh god, he's just gonna keep doing this. Protects again, which 2-turn protect, so better chance for me to actually hit him now. Doesn't quite work. We just U-turn out because I don't want to take toxic damage. I can't keep taking damage. He goes for Lava Plume, which I switch into Hotbox. We eat that. Yum, num, 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 num. And I'm like, okay, this guy can't touch me at all. Rotom Heat could potentially set up in the face of this Torkoal, which is kind of what we wanted to do. I could have brought the bulky Volt Switch version of Rotom Heat like I did in week 1. But we brought Nasty Plot Rotom Heat to be a sneaky sweeper. And actually, he goes for Protect, and I get a free Nasty Plot off. So now we're +2. And Discharge is looking really spicy against his entire team. You know, the one switch in, the Venusaur, which takes neutral damage from the electric type move. It's hurt and I'm +2. The Noivern will completely just like get shut down by a discharge. And Overheat in my brain is like a really good move against the Volcarona as well. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing. Discharge kills the Torkoal, no problem. Hotbox gets the first its first kill of the game. So technically we're in a 4-4 spot. He's got his Noivern up. I've got Hotbox here sitting in front of him, and I'm like looking, and it's like, okay, Draco Meteor is a roll. It has a chance to kill me. The damage spread was like 67 to 83, somewhere in kind of that range. So I'm like, okay, if he low rolls the damage, I live and kill it with Discharge. But I know he's faster, and I know I have no way of you know, getting out. I live the Draco. So I live the roll, which is unfortunate for DJ. But now, like, Rotom Heat is dead. I have 5% HP. I'm kind of at the point where, you know, I don't want the Darmanitan to set up on me for free. So, you know, if he went for, you know, some crazy thing like Belly Drum or something like that. Not that I think he would have. But, you know, I didn't want him to be able to set up for free and like not get punished. So I was like, okay, we'll just go for the move. We'll sack the Rotom Heat, and we'll kind of go from there. So now it's 3-3. He U-turns out, brings in the Venusaur, and I'm like, okay, we've done this game before. We know that Goodra walls it, but I also want to get these rocks taken care of right away because I want Goodra to be able to switch in and not keep taking chip damage if I need to swap it in and out, because it is my sweeper. If we get down to the end, I know the Goodra walls the Venusaur. It should be able to survive one hit and kill the Darmanitan, and that Volcarona, before it sets up, I have a chance of really doing some work against it if it's the offensive set and doesn't have any defensive investment. So I'm like, okay, I need to get rid of rocks. We bring in Tornadus. And I'm thinking, okay, Heat Wave should kill from here, actually. Hurricane for sure will, but I've missed it so many times that I'm like, I don't really want to go for a Hurricane again. So I'm debating about whether or not I should, you know, Heat Wave and kill it or Defog and get the hazards away. I eventually decide on Defog. He protects and blocks the Defog, gets a little bit more HP back, which is fine. But I'm like, okay, now let's just go for it. I'm taking toxic chip damage, but I want to make sure that I get this away. The Leech Seed switch right now, it would have given me a boost for Goodra, but I don't have any attack, like physical attack moves, so it doesn't really matter if I get that Sap Sipper bonus. And Jetstream can regenerate on the switch out, so it doesn't really matter either way. So I'm not too scared, but I know like toxic damage and Leech Seed is going to start doing a lot of damage every turn. So I really can't afford to stay in and like 1v1 this Venusaur anymore. He goes for Protect. The Protect on his Mons is so clutch this week. Like, he was able to just wear me down little by little. My U-turn hits the Darmanitan, which is fine. And we go out into Slowbro. I know I can take a hit from this Darmanitan. I am physically defensive. We built the Slowbro to beat this Darmanitan. I live U-turns really well, actually, as you see here. And we're like, okay, let's Thunder Wave out whatever he brings in. Maybe he'll switch in the Volcarona and try and set up in the face of Slowbro. He brings in the Venusaur, so the Thunder Wave really didn't matter. Now I switch out into Goodra. He Toxics, which is bad on everything. One piece of like, hey, maybe a better switch in was Jetstream, because I'm already Toxic. Hurricane and Heat Wave both wreck the Venusaur. It doesn't have the sun up, so it doesn't get the chlorophyll boost. So now, like, thinking about the game again, like, yes, the Venusaur, I win the 1v1 in the long term, I think. But like I should have switched out into Torrentee here. So Tornadus would have been the better switch. I'm debating between Ice Beam, Dragon Pulse, or just trying to drop a Draco Meteor. And I really just, I'm not sure. Nothing is a one-hit kill, so I'm looking at a 2-hit for sure. The first Draco Meteor does a bunch of damage, which is great. He Sludge Bombs. I take that, no problem. I eat it for breakfast, but the Toxic is starting to build up, so I can't stay in. Now we make the switch and actually go into Torrentee like I should have before. He protects and that fails, which is fine. I know I'm way faster, and you know we're done with this stupid Hurricane missing over and over and over again or getting protected against. It just is such a bummer because Tornadus, if it hits these Hurricanes, it's massive damage coming in, and I can't afford to keep getting things missed or blocked. Because that Toxic is eventually going to wear me down and I'm going to lose. He's got switches. He's got setup stuff. We miss a Heat Wave, which is another bummer. And now he's getting more HP back. And I'm like, God dang it. Like, what am I going to do? I debate about going for another Hurricane. And I eventually just decide to switch. I can't stay in. And he switches too. Goes into Volcarona. And this is not the ideal situation that I wanted. We have, the score on the board, the Rotom Heat, which kind of checks this. If he's not specially bulky, dead. We have the Crocodile, which definitely checks this thing, dead. Slowbro is not an answer to this thing. Whimsicott for Tailwind support, nope. Also dead. So it's a really tough spot for me to be in. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just see how much damage I can do. I know I'm not going to one-hit kill it. I calced for the bulky set, which he turned out to be, which is unfortunate. And I'm really just like, okay, well, what do I do? Because I'm running out of time, first of all. With the Toxic building up and it's tough. Quiver Dance is an amazing move, and it eats a Draco really well after the one Quiver Dance. 42%. If he would have not set up or not gone for Quiver Dance or just tried to read a switch or fire off a Fiery Dance or something like that, Goodra would have died most likely after Toxic and a hit or two. And then the Volcarona just sweeps my team anyway. But I don't know if Draco Meteor right off the bat was the play. We find out that this thing's set is just disgusting. I'm at half special attack now, -2. He's got Roost. I hit another Draco. It does 19%. So I'm kind of screwed here. So I need to switch out. And I just kind of I know at this point I'm dead. And so I even type in the chat GG to DJ because I know this. I can't break through the Volcarona. It's going to Quiver Dance and Roost until it's +4 or +6, and then be able to just kill everything. The Torrentee is not fast enough anymore. Hurricane and Heat Wave just don't do any damage anymore. And 1 Giga Drain is going to kill both my Mons. So he goes for the Fiery Dance. He kills my Tornadus. Big surprise. We knew it was going to die. Slowbro dies to a Giga Drain. I'm thinking, okay, well, if I live by somehow, maybe I go for, Parahacks or something like that. But there's no way I'm living. 1 Giga Drain is going to end my career and end my life, and that's GG's to DJ. So we get Volcarona swept at the end. Everybody's dead on the board, as you see. Well played, DJ. And we lose a 3-0. So it's just tough, man. It's, I did not expect to be 0-2 to start the season and lose a 1-0 and a 3-0 and get swept in the 3-0. I was really confident about the team we brought. I thought the team builder, I thought the team that we brought was really, really good. We did our calcs. We did some good scouting. Our practice games were good. We didn't get as many practice scrimmages in this week, and I didn't get as many looks at what he could potentially bring. But I kind of knew the team that he was going to bring other than the Hylego. And I just don't know, the game plan going into this game was Gudra is specially defensive just outright by itself. You give it the assault vest and max special attack and give it a modest nature, and we're just going to kill things. Or, send off really, really powerful attacks to wear things down. And then at the end of the game, we set up Tailwind and Crocodile sweeps. I had to switch in Crocodile early to deal with that Nihilego. I didn't really have a better option against it, which is unfortunate because with it taking, 95% on that one hit or whatever it was, meant that the life orb killed itself, and then I didn't have something that was fast enough and had the attack stat big enough to fire off a Stone Edge and kill this Volcarona. So I knew that was my win condition. I knew that was my my only chance to kill the Volcarona, to be completely honest with you. And we panicked a little bit in front of the Beast Boost. So I think that's I think it's a couple of things. One, I think it's me being inexperienced in the draft league and not knowing, okay, when my switch-ins are good or when to actually bring in threats. Not preparing well enough this week for that Pokemon especially was tough. And it just goes to show that you can't take your foot off the gas at all. So now we're down 2-0 or 0-2. We've got 2 losses to start the week, and it's been a hard way to start the season. With that being said, I think that we've got a really good chance to turn things around. We have 5 games left before the All-Star break. And then we have the whole back half of the season too. So, the best we can do is 12-2. The worst we can do is 0-14. So, we're going to do our best to keep preparing, keep prepping. I think that gets better every week that we've done it now. And I think going into week 3, we have a clear idea of things we need to work on. I'll open it up now for questions from the reporting team here. We're going to keep this brief, though. Go ahead. How do we feel about the roster right now? That's a great question. I really love the team that we drafted. But that being said, there have been some key pieces missing from the first 2 weeks from our lineup. We don't really have a good, reliable hazard setter. We don't have physical threats beyond Crocodile, really. I've got a very defensive team, and we are struggling to find kills and be a threat on offense. We can wall something for days, but if anything, you've seen the Volcarona, if you invest it properly, it can just set up in your face and, be able to sweep. And in week 1, it was, more of the same, being scared of being swept by something. So we're bringing in threats early. So I think one of the big changes, spoiler alert, that we're going to work on for this week is, open up the trading block. And open up a possible free agent move. We had 3 of them. So we're gonna look to hopefully pick up that key piece that we need to fill kind of both those roles. There is a free agent that I've got my eye on that I know has not been picked up yet. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody, but we are going to make some roster moves and make a switch. It's not going to be a drastic switch. I see some of these teams that have used all 3 of their free agent picks already. They're dropping team members, picking new people up, and it's only week 2. For some teams that's important because I think their drafts didn't go as well as they had hoped. But it kind of hamstrings you for the back half of the season when you don't have any free agent moves left and you have to rely on the trading block. So I think we're going to be deliberate and slow with our roster changes, but I definitely can foresee something happening, maybe even tonight. Wink, wink. Another question over here. MVP performance from week 2. Okay, well, it's tough to say. If I had to give like a most valuable player to week 2, I guess I would either give it to. See, it's tough because Gudra did exactly what it was supposed to do, but we kind of fell short with the execution. It was built exactly how I needed it to, but it didn't have the impact that I was hoping for. I think the MVP of this week actually goes to Crocodile for stopping the Beast Boost sweep in the mid game. So even though it went 1-1 and it only got the 1 kill and it didn't sweep per se, it stopped me from losing 6-0 or 5-0. So that I think was really clutch. Question over here. So you're asking if my coaching has come into question at all. Wow. Okay. You can just go out the door. Yeah, you're done. I'll answer it for the rest of you just because I'm feeling charitable tonight. But you're not allowed back next week. I think the weakness in my game is the fact that I am new. I am a rookie head coach. I haven't done this before, but we're learning, and I'm fully confident in my abilities to turn things around. Thank you very much. We got time for one more question right here. Who do you think is the best team in the league? Who do you think is the worst team in the league? Well, it's tough to say. I haven't checked the scores from tonight. Other than like the game that happened between me and DJ, I don't know what happened with. I know there was a rain delay for the Kalamazoo game, so I don't know what Garrett's gonna do. I think they're playing the makeup game tomorrow, and there's a lot of unknowns still. I don't know how Noah and DJ or in Dylan's game went. I don't know how this new team is going to perform. So I don't really know who is at the bottom per se. I have an idea, but I'm going to reserve judgment until I check the scores. Top of the leaderboard's got to be DJ and the team that we played tonight. They are. DJ is a smart coach. He is. His team is scary. He knows how to prep. He knows how to play out games. He's got a lot of experience. He's one of the more seasoned GMs and head coaches. So I would definitely say that the Hyrule team is definitely at the top. And at the bottom is probably Dylan's team.